Statists in our day advocate for what is called big government. Big government is, as its name suggests, a form of governance with a very large governmental bureaucracy, numerous governmental programs, a centralization of political power in the state, and the necessary high taxation to fund it. Big government, by its nature and size, infringes upon individual rights. Big government is preferred by those on the left of the political spectrum, which is a clue as to the identity of the latter-day secret combination. It is the left who are the statists in our day, with the right preferring smaller government and capitalism. Of course, this is a broad generalization. When statism is taken to its logical and radical conclusion, it becomes socialism. Socialism, introduced as a system of government in the early 20th century, is the state ownership and control of the economy. The governmental control is centralized, and the economy is planned without reference to a free market. Theoretically, socialism cannot be wholly assigned to the political left or right. For example, both Nazi Germany, aligned on the political right, and the Soviet Union, aligned on the political left, were both socialist and thereby statist nations. Having said that, it is the left that is identified with socialism, and it is the left today that advocates for both socialist policies and eventually socialist government. Socialism has become a fixture in the international political institutions of the post-World War II world and is increasingly infiltrating the discourse, policies, and institutions of the world's nations. The defining characteristic of socialism is the championing of economic rights in addition to the traditional political rights of free speech, assembly, religion, and others as set forth in the Bill of Rights. As Senator Bernie Sanders put it, democratic socialism is defined by economic rights. Economic rights include the right to health care, education, employment, housing, physical security, and so forth. The economic rights for health care are codified in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 25. The UN encourages and assists in introducing these rights into national policies and programs through its subordinate organizations. For example, the World Health Organization promotes the right of universal health care as stated in its constitution. According to WHO, universal health care as a human right obligates the nations to ensure and provide for it. Of course, this, in turn, requires governmental control of healthcare and its underlying determinants within a nation's borders. At present, the great majority of nations throughout the world provide either universal and/or free healthcare. The United States is the significant exception and is a battleground nation in this regard. The economic right to education is codified in Article 26. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has the mandate to ensure that education as a human right is guaranteed throughout the world. It does so through providing global leadership and strengthening education systems worldwide. Again, education as an economic right obligates a nation to provide that education. Furthermore, education is not only free, it is compulsory. Rights under socialism, democratic or otherwise, are never voluntary. The United States is the battleground in the fight between economic and political rights. It is the birthplace of political rights and their last and only bastion. But even in the United States, socialism and its economic rights are making headway. It wasn't always this way. The Cold War, lasting decades until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, was a geopolitical battle between the United States, a nation based upon capitalism and political rights, and the USSR, a nation based upon socialism and economic rights and their respective blocs. Though there was limited military conflict and loss of life, the war was primarily an ideological one: capitalism versus socialism. But even during this period, socialist policies began to be enacted into law in the United States. For example, it was during the presidency of Lyndon Johnson that the economic program of the Great Society was introduced. It included such healthcare programs such as Medicare and Medicaid, which continue to this day.